Welcome everyone to our VCT Valorant Masters Madrid press conference prior to our show match with our new agent, as well as the final between Gen G and Sentinels. With us today, far left, is our head of EMEA Esports, Alberto Guerrero. Next to him is Leo Faria, Global Head of VALORANT Esports. We also have the pleasure of welcoming Anna Donlon, the VALORANT Studio Head. And just to my left is John Needham, President of Esports at Riot Games. So most of you know the drill. Appreciate you introducing yourself and your outlet when you ask a question. I will be turning it over to Joanne, who will manage the process. But keep in mind, there's a microphone here in the room. And if you want to queue up starting now, we are going to be a tight 45 minutes because we know that you all will want to see the new agent reveal on stage. So that'll give you time to get there. And these four stragglers might hustle on up there as well to see it. So before we get started, I did want to give a shout out and perhaps even a little applause for our amazing my amazing teammates, Joanne and Anna, who have run this amazing press experience the entire time we've been here in Madrid. So thanks to you two. And now I'll turn it over to our global head of VALORANT Esports, Leo Faria. Leo.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I have a few words prepared for you before we jump into Q&A. We're very happy to be here. Thank you all for attending in person. For those of you joining us online around the world, we're very happy to be in Madrid. This is the first time the VCT is coming to Spain. We're so thankful for the community and for all of you to being such incredible hosts. We all love the city. It's been amazing to be here. And look, we're starting 2024 with incredible momentum in the VCT. As you all know, the offseason was quite busy. There's a lot of churning teams and new players joining our leagues. And of course, everyone wanted to see those new teams in action. And that anticipation, as well as a super high stakes format for kickoff, made kickoff in 2024 the most successful regional competition in VCT history, which we are incredibly excited about. Engagement and viewership is up across the board in all of our leagues, anywhere from 50 to 100% growth if compared to last year. So we're super happy about that. We, of course, also welcomed China officially to the VCT, launching VCT China. We build a beautiful new studio in Shanghai, which, by the way, we built under 50 days, and it looks beautiful. Of course, we're headed to China after stage one for Masters Shanghai. We also took the opportunity of being here in Madrid to meet with a bunch of partners. So we met this morning with our partners at MasterCard and HP and Red Bull, and it was amazing. Last night, we also met with team owners in the VCT, many of whom are attending Masters. And it was great just to connect and spend time with them. As you can imagine, everyone, including team owners, are eager to learn about team capsules and how they're performing. We know that fans are also very eager to know. So we thought it would be nice to give you all a little sneak peek on how those are doing. We're going to release rankings per league very, very soon. But today we thought it would be nice to share just a little bit. In fact, coincidence or not, the two teams that played lower grand finals yesterday have the two best performing capsules worldwide, which is really cool. So PRX is coming up on number one with the most popular capsule around the world, and Sentinels has the second best performing capsule, probably thanks to all of Zels's hard work. But it's really cool. Again, very soon we're going to release those rankings. So we're super excited. Sentinels and Gen G playing for the title. Gen G is the first Korean team to ever make it to a grand finals. They're playing, of course, not only for the title, but for a very beautiful trophy that's taking inspiration from our new agent Clove. And also, the winner will have their capsule promoted in the store for 2 weeks. Thanks, Anna, for that. And we're excited to see how that will, help with create some momentum around capsules. So to wrap up, Masters Madrid has been incredible. We're very happy. First event of the season. Our all new Swiss stage has been incredibly successful. We saw, again, incredible growth if compared to our first Masters of last year. Our peak viewership is up 117%, and average viewership is up 87%. So a lot of engagement. As you all know, Valorant still very much growing, and I think Masters Madrid is just a great example of that. We're of course going to wait for today, grand finals to happen, and we're going to compile all of viewership data. But we believe Masters Madrid is very much on its way to become one of the most watched Masters events of all time, if not the most watched Masters of all time. So super excited to be here. So with that, I'm going to invite my friend Alberto Guerrero to say a few words. Thank you.
Obrigado, Leo. Thank you very much. Gracias. Yo me quiero dirigir un poquito en español a la audiencia que tenemos y transmitir que para los Rioters que trabajamos en la región, cuando un torneo internacional viene a la región, nos sentimos especialmente bendecidos, pero los Rioters españoles, cuando además esto pasa en España, pues doblemente bendecidos. En ese sentido, quiero agradecer personalmente a todos vosotros que participáis de estos eventos y que acudís como hoy a la rueda de prensa para dar soporte y para informar sobre lo que está pasando, porque eso forma parte de nuestro ecosistema y sabemos muy bien que España tiene una buena representación, en particular en VCT, con 3 equipos, y parte de ese éxito es de los profesionales que como vosotros nos seguís y apoyáis los eventos que hacemos. Muchas gracias en nombre de Riot.
All right, thank you very much. We'll now begin the press conference. At this time, I'd like to invite all of our on-site media, if you have a question for any members of our leadership team, to come down to the microphone and stand in line. Once you are the next person in line, please introduce yourself, your name, your outlet, and then state your question to a specific spokesperson.
Hello, everyone. Cecilia from Esports Magazine. Hi, glad to see you, everyone here in Madrid. My question is for Leo. And looking at the successful start of 2024, what comes next for VALORANT Esports, and will it entail a console version of the game?
Okay. So look, we're very excited about 2024, right? I think we have a few surprises lined up that we're not yet ready to talk about, but there are definitely some new things that we are cooking up. I think after Masters Madrid, we of course jump into the regular season. We have an all new format this year that we're excited about, see it played out for the first time with championship points. As we have already announced, we're going to go to Masters Shanghai, Champions in Seoul, bringing our global events to new locations, first time in China. We're also seeing changes to challengers for the first time. We now have Ascension happening after Champion. So a lot of new things happening this year. And yeah, we should be ready to talk more about new surprises soon.
Actually, Anna, you want to talk about the console launch?
Thanks, David. I thought he handled it great. So I think we've been pretty open about the fact that we've been exploring other platforms and doing work and seeing if we could actually bring the great experience of the game onto different platforms, given different control schemes and stuff like that. So I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to give some really solid updates on that sometime this year.
Hello, my name is Johan Alberles. I'm from Esports Driven / VALORANT Updates on Twitter. So I have 2 questions open for everyone. My first one is, what is the future for the team bundles? Given the success of the classic bundles, can we expect bigger bundles, including Phantom and Vandal soon?
Maybe I can start and then you
start,
jump
yeah.
in. Yeah. So look, we're incredibly happy with that investment. It's been a dream of ours to have team brands represented in games so players can rep their favorite teams. And just seeing how much teams leaned into the process to really help promote and make that a success has been incredible. We have had a lot of success co-marketing moments with teams, and that's the whole point of the partnership system in the VCT, and that has been a tremendous success. The capsules are doing very well, but it's a test, right? This is the first time we're doing it. We have a lot to learn this year. We're going to see how it goes, and then we're going to soon make a decision about the future of those capsules. What I will tell you though, to kind of set expectations, we probably want to reserve I want to say the most premium inventory like Phantom and Vandals for Champions, because that collection, and we're very committed to continue doing that, is doing incredibly well, both from a player experience perspective to celebrate the moment, but also just outright generating revenue for all teams in the VCT. But yeah, we're gonna learn. There's a lot to learn this year, and then yeah, soon we're making a decision about the future of capsules.
Awesome.
You answered it great.
Thank you. All right.
Right, and my second question is like we now have three French teams in Tier 1 with Vitality, Carmine Corp, and Gentlemates. So here in France, we would love to see a major event taking place in France, in Paris, or in Marseille, or whatever. Are there any plans or ideas for an event taking place in France in the future?
Yeah, so look, France is actually among the most popular markets within the EMEA territory. So I think it's we don't have anything to announce today, but I think it's safe to say that when we come back to EMEA, we might go to France. We've been to Turkey, we've been to Spain, we've been to Germany, we've been to Copenhagen, we've been to Reykjavik in Iceland. So yeah, it would only make sense to at some point visit France.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question.
Hello, my name is Diego delplural.com. I have a question for all in general. Looking back 4 years ago, and where is VALORANT now? Do you think VALORANT has achieved its goals or need still work to do?
Sorry, I didn't really hear the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure we fully understand the question. If you don't mind repeating, please.
Bueno, a ver, te lo digo en español y se lo traduces a ellos.
Yo puedo. I can. Let's go.
Sí.
About the
Mirando
goal.
atrás el VALORANT cómo estaba hace 4 años, cómo estaba VALORANT hace 4 años y cómo está ahora, ¿crees que ha conseguido sus objetivos o todavía hay trabajo que hacer?
Did VALORANT achieve the goals after 4 years, or we still have work to do?
Oh,
To be done?
so we always have work to do. I'll just start there. We always have work to do. But I think if we think about 4 years ago when we launched the game and what we were expecting, I think at that time we were just really hoping players would show up in the first place. You know, we hoped we'd made a game that they would love as much as the love that we'd put into the game. And I think then having the honor of bringing an esport to the world, and I think internally, I think we've exceeded our own hopes and dreams for the game in a lot of different ways, but we serve a community of players, and that's really how we measure our own success. So there's always more work to do. So we just keep changing the goals, I would say. I think the initial goals we've exceeded those, and now we have bigger dreams and higher goals for our players, for sure.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sylvia from Real Sport 101. This question is for Anna. While specifics might be under wraps, can you offer some general insights into Valorant's development roadmap for the next 12 months or so? What kind of new content or features can players look forward to? Maybe a replay system, perhaps?
I thought it would be the first question. So I'm probably not going to go into too much detail of the roadmap itself, but I think you can expect all of the same wonderful content drops that we usually do year over year. Really great agents that should shift the game. Probably, I'd be surprised if we didn't release a new map this year. And then obviously all of the battle passes, skins, premiere seasons, everything. I think those things just keep getting better and better. So for us, it's not just about releasing the same things every year. It's about just really upping our game every year. From a features perspective, I think we released a lot of new features last year. So I think from pure new features perspective, I think it's probably not going to be as aggressive as a year as it was in 2023. And then in terms of replays, I was expecting this question. So I'm not shy to talk about replays. So replays is a system that we absolutely believe should exist in VALORANT, and it's one that we've talked about the fact that we are developing. I'm going to be super honest. It is way more complicated to implement it into Val than we wanted it to be. And a lot of that has to do with optimizations that we made in the game before we even launched the game. And so now that we're trying to dig into the systems and get that replay system online, it is really complicated. It doesn't mean we're not going to do it. We're fully committed to doing it, and we are doing work on it. I just don't have an ETA. And it would feel a lot better if I could sit up here today and talk to everybody and say, here's when it's going to come. But we don't have an ETA, and that's not the best spot for me to be in. But what we can commit to is giving more updates because we've been really, really quiet on it. And I don't think that's been great. So we're working on getting some things locked in so that we can provide better updates. And that's what we'll do. But it is definitely still in development.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for the question.
Hi, I'm Juan Pablo for Prensa Esports Latin America. So I must ask like a question in line for my Latin community. So I think you've made an awesome job picking the countries for these international events because I don't know, it feels like the best way to show what Valorant is capable of. I don't know, we will travel to Shanghai and this China emerged last year after the America's big union. We traveled to Brazil, so I don't know. It feels like Latin America, LAN, or last countries are missing this international event. There are any plans of making masters or even champions one day there?
That is a great question. We definitely want to show some love to Latin America. Um, we have, for multiple reasons, including COVID, in the first 2 years of our sport, 2021, 2022, we've done a lot of EMEA. So our goal starting last year in 23 was to bring our events to other parts of the world. So we did a lot of Americas. We had lock-in in Brazil, champs in LA. Now we're doing a lot of Asia, of course. After here, we're going to Shanghai and Seoul. So you will definitely see the VCT traveling, going to new places, and absolutely at some point we want to come to Latin America. Both Crew and Leviathan are from Buenos Aires, so that would be probably a natural place to go. But as you probably know, a lot goes into consideration when we choose a location. But yeah, we'll definitely visit Latin at some point.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the question.
Hello, everyone. Dana from Multiplayerit. This is a question for Mr. Needham. Valorant's fan base is rooted in different realities and country all around the world. Each has a different sport tradition. What are Riot's communication strategy for major events like the Masters, making that everything coherent, and even now that China joins the VCT?
It's an interesting question. Yeah, I mean, look, we pride ourselves in our games on being very international, and I think we have a lot of offices around the world with a lot of great local talent and who help us with these major events to make them authentic for a ton of regions around the world. So we have a deep belief in being very local and being very authentic locally. And we do that mostly through our local offices. So they help us with these kind of events and making sure that we reach as many countries authentically as we can.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Hello, I'm Tio from Sons of KS from Latin America. My first question is for Mr. Needham. It's not a secret for everyone here that Riot Games has become, over the years, the leader on esports industry. Last year, League of Legends became the World's Finals became the most watched esports game in history, and Valorant in only 4 years have become one of the top 5 biggest esports for people to watch. So in this order, how do you see the Valorant esports community growth in the next 10 years, as we have already been 10 years after League, and it's a massive like thing, and Valorant is coming to maybe even take the throne anytime soon?
Okay, Leo will tell you this.
Yes.
I like to foster a lot of competition within the esports teams.
He really does.
And so my goal is always for either Valorant or League to be the top esport. And I think we're very encouraged by the growth in Valorant esports. I do hope that it can one day grow to the level of League of Legends esports, and that's the expectation. I mean, we are, as an esports organization, we like to be very close to the game, and we have this belief that the game experience that Riot delivers is different than other publishers, and esports is a big part of that. So esports is core to what we do with our games, and you know, we've got a great show here and a great competition in a amazing game that allows us to build a great sport. So we are, you know, full steam ahead on keeping Valorant growing, and I'm going to keep pestering Leo to compete with Nas and make Valorant the biggest esport.
Yeah, look, if I may add something, we've been saying for probably a couple of years now that Valorant is the fastest growing esport in the world. And we look at all these numbers, they just reaffirm that's a reality. And if we keep investing and growing for the next few years, which we will, yeah, I think, yeah, it will only get better.
Yeah, and I think if you look at League of Legends, where it was 3 or 4 years into its esports life, Valorant is right there.
Yeah, actually, Esports Charts revealed last year the top five most watched esports, and Valorant was in the top three actually.
Yeah.
And taking this in advantage, I want to ask you, Leo, because some people may feel a concern about the on-site events because of how much the audience could influence a round or a game in the way that maybe when a player is aiming into a smoke or something, the amount of noise the crowd makes could lead him to take or not to take a decision. So do you have anything planned to maybe help the game be less biased in this way?
Right. Look, that's a great point, and I appreciate the opportunity to clarify. We've been doing esports for 15 years, right? We're just talking about League of Legends, the biggest esport in the world. And we have learned so much. In the early days of League of Legends, we actually had to make changes in the game because the bass sound when the team was doing Baron would actually shake the stage and players would know that the other team was doing Baron without having that information on the map. So over the years, I would say we have perfected. I mean, there's always room for improvement. We'll never be done, but we have gotten to a really good place of managing the production on stage, and we're very confident that players, when they're on stage, they cannot hear a thing. We have a pretty complex system that mixes audio into their headphones. They use both a piece of in-ear and then a headphones on top.
Yes.
And we mix a quite high level of white noise for anyone who ever played tests on our stage. Their reaction is like, how can players play like this? Because it's so loud. So everyone can be confident that players on stage do not get any information from the audience. Everything is incredibly well managed and tested. We actually come to these venues and it's a challenge because we need a lot of days before show days because we do so much tech checks and play tests. We look at everything, any sort of reflections around the venue that the IMAGs will reflect on. And again, we've been doing this for a while, so we're very confident that our game is completely fair and there's no influence from the audience whatsoever.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Hello all, my name is Emma. I'm from the One. So our mission is to connect idols with the people around. So my question goes for all of you. With this amazing growth of Riot and Valorant, I would like to ask you about the message of what would you say to these people that are gamers and they want to become or they want to be in this level of competition one day?
I can take that. Yeah. When we talk about esports, the most few events are these big events, but the whole esports group is working in the whole competitive pyramid, and that means that we try to offer as much as we can the opportunities for the kids to understand where they can start to jump into the competition and grow through the different paths we have to arrive to the big teams. That's different in every region. That's different even in every country because the amount of players and the economy of the country and the size of everything makes have an influence on how we can build that. But we try to develop what we call this path to pro, and it's about for these players to be inspired by the top, but try to find regionally where are the opportunities for them to grow. For us, discoverability of the big talent that we have everywhere and the ability to grow the talent through the different layers is a basic to being able to have all these global events with such a big stars that do things that clearly are not able to be repeated by the 99.999% of the players.
Very true. I would also add, I think one of the things that makes esports very special is the fact that if you look at traditional sports, I think most people would agree with me that vast majority of the audience don't necessarily play the sport, right? People watching the NBA, they don't play basketball on the weekends. And that's we have the complete opposite happening on esports. When you watch a match like this, it's like everyone in the stands, they play the game as well. It's like going to a concert and everyone in the audience is a musician. So those players on stage, they're not just these distant idols that are untouchable. They are representing. They represent the best of us, and that relationship and that connection we think is what makes esports really special.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Jack from GG Recon. My question is for Anna. We're set to see Clove have a big reveal shortly. Unfortunately, some of the abilities are already out there. But I wondered if I could gauge your thoughts on how she will play, or how they will play competitively.
That's a really good question. I don't want to share too much about Clove's gameplay right now because right after we leave here, we're actually going to go watch a really great dev interview and show match, and so I think they're going to get pretty deep. I think we also might have an interview with the lead designer on that agent as well. I just think that I can't wait to see pros get their hands on Clove. Honestly, they bring something so interesting into the game. I think they're going to bring a level of depth and honestly a level of creativity and zaniness that I think will be really, really interesting to see how those pros adapt to. I think we all get really excited when we see new agents find their way onto a live event. We at home get really excited when we see a new agent enter the mix. And so it might take a little while with Clove. We'll see. Like, we're right at the start of a season. We'll see how quickly they're integrated. But I do think this one, I don't know, this one's a little bit of a curveball, so it'll be exciting to see where they end up for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, hi, Cecilia again. Question for John this time. Can you share more about how the business model that you created here in Valorant has inspired the new one coming to League soon?
Yeah, as Leo mentioned earlier, we have just learned a ton over the past 15 years about esports, what works, what maybe doesn't work as we had intended. I think when we designed the VCT, a lot of our hypotheses have really played out great. We are definitely more aligned with teams on growing the sport, on supporting the game. The teams have done an amazing job with marketing just all around. I think when you look at these team capsules and you see the marketing that the teams have done around that, it's been amazing. And our focus in the VCT model on digital has been one that's just really played out even better than we expected. We have oversold our forecasts on digital items basically since the start of VCT last year. So that was one of the big impetuses to trying to propose a similar business model on the league side. And I'm just super excited. Things are going really well in conversations with teams so far. And we're figuring out how to make esports a sustainable business and make it a meaningful life pursuit for our best players to build careers around our games.
Hello, it's Lee from esports.net. I've got a question for either John or Alberto. I suppose whoever feels best to answer it. It's following on from the layoffs that happened earlier this year. So there was a report that came out after that, which I presume you would have read, from Richard Lewis, about how there was maybe a general culture, especially in the LEC broadcast. They felt there was a culture of crunch, maybe overworking before the layoffs happened. So I just wondered if that culture was, or that feeling was something you guys were aware of, and if there's anything that maybe has been done or you're looking to do since then to maybe remedy that.
Why don't I start? And then you can fill if you want.
Okay.
Roberto. Obviously layoffs are a tough thing to do. We let a lot of amazing people go when we did layoffs back in January, and it's never easy. The LEC broadcast, I'm just super proud of that team, how in the toughest moment, they did what we needed to do for players, and they produced a show. And I think we continue to kind of get back to normalcy. But we never want a culture of burnouts or grind for our employees. That's not what our culture is about at all. I think in live events, sometimes it's hard because, it takes a lot of people and a lot of time to throw events like this, to make live shows. And it's just a tough business to be in. But right now, we're just looking at our shows and we're trying to figure out what is the most impactful pieces of our shows that mean the most to our fans. And we're going to continue to invest a lot in those moments. And events like this really force you to make trade-offs and make decisions. And hopefully we won't be here again. I would say it's tough.
Well, just to add that, of course, there were very difficult moments on the first days. We had LEC before this moment and LEC 3 days after. For the first weeks, of course, that requires a time for adaptation. But we have been doing trade-offs and make changes, even in the format that is going to allow us to reduce even the number of days of broadcast for the next splits. If you see how we have improved the transitions in between games, literally we are broadcasting 1 hour less every day because we are more efficient, changing names, and that is impacting the rioters' schedule during the day and during the 3 days of the week. We are not yet where we want. We still think we can improve even a bit better. All the changes that are going to have an impact on the amount of hours and dedication. But I would say that we are very close, and you can see the results are really great, and both the VALORANT games and the LEC games has been running very flawless and very well. So we are very happy with the results and where we are right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Cecilia again. Sorry, just one last question for Anna or Leo, whoever wants to reply. Is there anything you're doing behind the scenes or preparing for next time that leaks occur for Valorant content?
Other than crying?
The crying's not working. Every single time this happens, we wonder why it happens. And almost every time it happens for a slightly different reason. So we're constantly looking at our processes and trying to figure out how to tighten them up a bit. I think, in some cases it's intentional. In other cases, it's literally just an innocent mistake that someone has made. And we really don't want to make those people feel bad for having just like read something wrong or gotten a time zone wrong or whatever it is. And like I said, like there's different reasons each time it happens, but each time it happens, we go back and retro why it happened so we can figure out how to tighten up our processes and make them better. It's always really hard for the teams who spend so much time just trying to make sure that we have a synchronization and an order that we want things to go in to create the perfect rhythm and the perfect moment. So when things happen, it's always a little disruptive. But I would say we have a world-class team back at Riot who's kind of unfortunately ready for these types of things and they have many playbooks on what to do. And hopefully today's experience with Clove won't be jeopardized at all. Hopefully everyone will still get to experience them the way that we really hope to. So yeah, thanks for the question though. Thank you. Mhm.
All right, we'll now transition to remote media questions. First question from Brandon Esports GG.
Thank you very much. I think this answer might be a long shot to get, but I'll send it to Anna. We just recently saw the reveal of Project L as 2XKO, and we're always seeing the ever expanding universe of Valorant with new agents like Clove. We're seeing a reveal today. I just had a question if there's any conversations or collaboration between Valorant and that team to send any Valorant agents into that fighting game.
What an amazing question. And what a long shot question. I'm actually really proud of you for asking that question, honestly. I wouldn't rule it out. I think we want to see how 2XKO does. We're really excited to be bringing that game to players. I don't think we have any immediate plans to kind of bring the two worlds together, but I definitely wouldn't rule it out. I think if that's what players in that community are looking for, I think we'd be really open to it. So yeah, it's a good question. We've definitely thought about it, and I think that there's a world where I could definitely see that happening.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Next question from MGG Leo.
Hello guys from France, and my question is for Leo, I think. You mentioned earlier that you were happy with the result of the kickoff with the audience and engagement. But I can't speak for the player, but for the community, it has been quite a while because the off-season was very long. And some teams, like I'm thinking about Gentlemate or Fnatic, play very few games, and they didn't make it to Madrid. So do you think that it was what was the reasoning behind that? And do you think that next year we can expect more games and a more intense competition for the format?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, so look, I think there are two things here. One of the challenges of running a sport as big as the VCT is that there are always multiple parties in the ecosystem with different needs and different desires, right? Teams will always want to play more, but we have to be careful because playing too much actually makes it less interesting for fans. What makes the Valorant and the VCT special is the fact that you get to see the best teams playing And when we have a match, it matters a lot. And we're seeing that happening right now. With that said, we completely agree that a 6 months of season is too long. And the way our season is designed right now and has been for the past couple of years, it's like things are either too hot or too cold, right? We have a season that is quite compressed from January this year, February to August. And then we have a long off season, essentially no official VCT circuit happening from September to December. So we have teased late last year that we are making changes for 2025. We're not ready to announce what the full plan looks like, but we want to essentially start the season earlier, end the season later, which means we're going to have more time to work with. We're probably going to be able to build bigger breaks in between competition. And I think this year specifically, things were just exacerbated by a long off season, plus the fact that we had to start in February. Reason being, we wanted to give teams in China a chance to establish themselves in Shanghai, like we gave every team when we launched the other 3 leagues last year. So that created us a 5.5, almost 6 months off season. So I could absolutely see from team's perspective, I waited 6 months to play 2 BO3s, and now I have to wait a whole month again. It's not great. But again, I think it was very much tied to the circumstances of this moment, and next year it will be better. But thank you for that question.
Thank you. We'll move to Fernando, Valorant Zone.
Hi guys, Fernando from VALORANT Zone in Brazil. My question is for Leo. Leo, you're Brazilian, you know how passionate we are with soccer, and I want to give you some context before the question. So, as you know, Libertadores is the biggest football tournament in South America, and recently they added a rule where teams that will play in Libertadores need to have a woman team as well. So they need to invest in women's sports. And I want to know if you and Riot think in the future, like if a team wants to be a part of franchise of tier 1, they need to invest on game changer scene, because if you take a look at Americas, 5 out of the 11 teams does not invest on game changer scene. So is that a part of something you're thinking of, a rule that obligates teams to invest in game changer scene?
Obrigado pela pergunta, Fernando. Look, that is a great question. We take a lot of pride in game changers, right? And our goal, to be clear, is to create our ultimate goal is to create a sport that represents the community of Valorant, which is incredibly diverse. We're very proud to see a lot of women playing Valorant, far above the average for PC games, especially shooters. So we want the sport to reflect that. So when we created Game Changers, we had 2 main goals. One is to create a stage for women to play, to hone their skills, to be seen. And eventually, which is the phase we hope to be entering now, is to create a path and create mobility so women could eventually join the main circuit. And that's why we've said multiple times, the goal is not to make Game Changers as big as Masters or Champions. The ultimate goal is to see women playing at Masters and Champions. We're not trying to create a separate sport for women. With that said, we spent a lot of time when we were creating the program talking to women pros and talking to them, how can we help? Like, what is helpful? What do you want to see out of the sport? And what we learned from them is that no one wants a quota. No one wants to be someone else's, marking a checkbox. They want to play because they deserve, right? So every time we think about game changes and how to integrate in our sports, we always keep that in mind. We don't want to create any sort of requirement or obligation, because then when players play, it's like, well, I'm not here because I deserve. I'm here because this team is obligated to hire me. And that doesn't feel good. With that said, we've seen a lot of teams, especially our partner teams, who are investing. Not all of them do. Each team has a different strategy, a different way to approach their business. But we are definitely thinking about better incentives for teams to invest in Game Changers competitions. I think part of the challenge we have right now is the calendar, because we want to see more teams, for example, practicing between their main roster and their Game Changer roster, give them opportunity to practice and scream against each other. So there's definitely a lot we can do to facilitate that investment, but I'm not sure we would go to the extent of creating a requirement or obligation, because again, I don't think it serves the goal and the purpose of Game Changers, but we're absolutely thinking about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question from Razor Valorant Competitive.
Hi, good to see you guys. I'm got a question from the Valorant competitive Reddit community, coming from Para Renegade to Anna. After Chamber, a lot of the agents released seem to be much less powerful. We haven't seen ISO or Deadlock at Masters Madrid, and Gecko needed buffs to be viable. Did Chamber's overperformance make you guys reassess the strength that you wanted to release agents at?
No. No. So the balancing act of keeping our agents in a really good play spot is a constant act. Our teams are constantly looking at how things are balancing out. Every choice they make has a cascading impact on every single other choice that was made previously. And then once you get them into players' hands, you learn a bunch of new stuff about them, and then you immediately start making modifications and adapting. So I don't think none of those choices are really. I mean, obviously, we do make some intentional choices. I think we're pretty honest about it when we make very specific intentional choices around agent balance and major changes. But no, and I do think the team is getting. They've already had a really good grasp on it. I think they have a better grasp on it than they've ever had before. So I'm really hopeful in the future that those shifts might not feel as significant unless they're fully intended to feel that significant.
It's great to hear from you, Ray.
Thank you.
Good to see you or hear you. We can't see you. We can't see anybody, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. You make people here.
Blinded by the lights.
Next question from Arnab the Spike.
Hey guys, first of all, I would like to congratulate for the whole team that for a massive success in launching a huge game like Valorant. My question is actually open for everyone. I would like to know how far the development for Valorant Mobile is done, and if fans can expect the game to be launched anytime soon, given that we have seen few test videos and social medias.
Sorry, I didn't get much of that.
Yeah, same. If you don't mind speaking up just a little bit, please.
Is it okay? My question is open for everyone. I would like to know how far the development of Valorant Mobile is done, if the fans can expect the game to be launched anytime soon, given that we have seen a lot of test videos in social media.
Did you say Valorant Mobile?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was the word we were missing.
Yes.
Okay. Development continues on Valorant Mobile. I have no significant updates today, but we are still working through that game and its gameplay. Yeah, I'm really hoping that we can. We haven't had any significant updates except for I think some maybe leaks from some play tests, which, I mean, if you're play testing a thing, that's always a good sign. So no official comms from us right now, but hopefully some updates, maybe even later this year.
Thank you very much. We'll have time for one final question from Raquel Mice Esports.
Hello, guys. My question goes to Leo. I'm Raquel from Mice Esports from Brazil. In 2023, after the announcement of the franchise league and changes in Challengers League, there are many discussions. And now in 2024, they expanded the calendar and made some changes. But can teams expect any international events besides Ascension for 2025?
Thank you for the question. So look, we are giving ourselves the opportunity this year to really rethink the path to pro for Valorant, right? We have at the moment a bunch of different things that we are exploring and trying and launching. I think the big one is, of course, Premier. We're going to see this year for the first time teams promoting from Premier into Challengers. We have this vision and this dream of creating a path to pro that starts in game. So we're going to see how that goes this year. The other big part of the puzzle is, of course, how do we connect challengers with tier one, with international leagues and global events? Ascension so far has been that opportunity. We think it has been successful. We are in fact seeing a lot of good momentum coming from challengers, bringing both players and teams up from challengers into international leagues, which is the main purpose and the goal why we do it. So we saw about 40% of players playing in international leagues this year coming from challengers last year, which is incredible. We of course have 4 teams playing in our leagues that bring fresh blood, new communities into international leagues. So from that perspective, we think it's working well. Where there is definitely room for improvement, though, is what we hear from some teams is that they want to invest in Valorant, they believe in the game, they love the community, but the opportunities to grow in challenges are limited. And we understand that completely, because if you really think about it, we have many teams. That's kind of one of the challenges of challengers or tier 2, just the sheer amount of teams and players that exist in that layer. Only one team promote every year. So from that perspective, we are hearing from some organizations that they look at the risk profile investment of challengers and they think it might not be worth it. So we are thinking of a bunch of different ways to solve that problem and make it better for organizations to invest, for players to dedicate their career to Valorant. I think just having more opportunities for them to play internationally, to your point, is one of them, and we might pursue that route. But we're thinking at a bunch of different things that include everywhere from revisiting Ascension to how Ascension slots work, creating more opportunities to see partner teams playing with challenger teams. There's really a bunch of different ways to skin this cat, but it's a problem and an opportunity that we are very well aware of. I don't think any of us here look at challenges last year and think that it was a massive success. Again, it's fulfilling its role, but it can definitely be better, and we'll probably be able to share some news later this year, if not early next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations for the event.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just quick thanks to Alberto, Leo, Anna, and John for joining us today. Thank you all for being here. We've now left time for you to scramble and join us and in the arena, which is amazing, Madrid Arena, as hosting us to the reveal of Clove. So thanks everyone, and have an absolutely awesome day with Genji and Sentinels putting on a show today. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, folks.